Hey guys, Roger here. So this is the FeiyuTech AK2000 Gimbal. Now I've been shooting footage with it for a few weeks, trying out slightly more cinematic and slow motion video, which is different to the kind of footage I normally shoot. But using the gimbal you are able to capture nice steady video, and I find that it does stabilize the camera well, and it gives you more freedom to move around with the camera. There are lots of different gimbals out there, and it's important to find one that will work well with your camera. Now the AK2000 works perfectly with my mirrorless Sony a6300, and it can be used with some larger DSLR cameras as well. It's worth checking out the link in the description below if you want to find out more about the cameras that this gimbal supports. Also, a big thanks to FeiyuTech for sending the gimbal to me for this video. So this comes in a nice carry case, and inside you'll find everything you need to use it straight out of the box. There are a number of different connections for different cameras, and also a few really nice extras, such as the detachable tripod. And the tripod makes setting up the gimbal much easier, especially when you're trying to balance the camera before you turn it on. And also, of course, the tripod will keep the gimbal steady when you want to put it down. The AK2000 uses four 18650 rechargeable batteries, which are included in the box along with a battery charger, which is great. Now the batteries can't be charged while they're in the gimbal, which is a real shame, but it's easy enough to charge them with the included charger. Now it takes about 5 hours to fully charge all four batteries, but they do last for about 11 or 12 hours, so at least you get a fair amount of usage time before you have to charge them again. Now every time you want to use the gimbal, you'll need to balance the camera. Now if you've used a gimbal before, then you'll know how to do this, but the aim is to have the camera sitting as straight as possible before you turn the gimbal on. Now FeiyuTech include a quick release plate, so you'll want to first of all connect the quick release plate to the bottom of the camera, and once you've done that, it really doesn't take long to get the camera balanced. In the past I've used other gimbals, including the A1000. And I honestly think the biggest and most significant feature that stands out on this newer model is the built-in touchscreen display. Now the display means you can take control of the gimbal settings really easily, and when you need to adjust the settings, it's much faster and easier doing that via the display rather than having to use an app. Now, the gimbal does have Bluetooth and it can be controlled via the FeiyuTech app, but I really like having that touchscreen display. There's a joystick just below the display which can be used to control pan and tilt, and on the side of the gimbal is a very handy wheel, and you can actually change what this does. So yes, it can control pan and tilt, it can also be used to control focus, and it can even be used to control zoom. So the footage at the start of this video was of course shot on the Sony a6300 using this gimbal, but I did then use optical flow and stabilization in Final Cut Pro, simply to remove some of the slight movement that you could still see, such as the slight bobbing up and down while I'm walking along. I think the important thing to remember is that using a gimbal will definitely help you shoot much smoother footage with far less shake and unwanted movement, but using a gimbal does take a little bit of practice. All of the footage in this video was actually shot in 4K at just 30 frames per second. But of course, shooting at higher frame rates of perhaps 60 frames per second or more will really help you to create nice slow motion footage. The AK2000 is currently priced at around £380 in the UK and about $380 in the US. It comes with literally everything you could possibly need in order to use it with your mirrorless camera or DSLR, and as well as doing what a gimbal does, it has great build quality and of course that excellent touchscreen. The one thing I wish the gimbal could do is allow me to charge the batteries without having to take them out of the gimbal every time, but apart from that, I think it's a really great product, well worth adding to your camera gear, especially for those cinematic shots. So if you'd like to know more about it, as always there will be a link in the description below. A big thanks again to FeiyuTech for sending out the gimbal for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit the like button, and please also consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.